And welcome to episode 9. As we saw in the last episode, the Rise Empire disintegrated. And look at that. You see now the balance of power in Europe, it's very, very unbalanced. Due to regional things, some states have bits in other states, even though they're not connected. However, we can ignore that because, well, it's just a little alliance. I mean, it's just sort of like internal thing, which I'm not going to get into because that takes too much time. So essentially, the state of Wales was formed as a buffer state between all these empires and Iran. Will it be able to hold out? Maybe, maybe not. So essentially, the left, they begin to plan an invasion of the White Mob. However, this invasion would not go very well. Because they're allies with the left. And I mean, they're allies with the White Mob. So if we look at the borders, we can see that Dust is starting to lose. I mean, it's starting to gain territories in the White Mob. It just helps those borders along. Peace would be made. Everything would be rainbows and unicorns forever. The end. Except not the end, because, well, has your mommy ever told you this? I'm sorry if I became American for a second, but unicorns aren't real. And rainbows are just a refraction of light. So anyway, sorry for crushing your hopes and dreams. Let's get back into the theory. So if we look here, Pole, it's essentially like either a Poland or a Prussia. I'm not sure which one yet, because I'd say we're about in the year... What year is that? Not 2025. That's because... here's the thing. I'd say each episode is about 1 to 5 generations. So, let's just say this is 100 years after year 800. Well, not 800. 700. And 90. Eventually, stars from the first war against Syria would begin. And then the war would restart. Forces would begin pushing into the state of Syria. They would begin attempting to reach the capital of Syria. Only issue is that they were being pushed back. The war goes on and on and on until these borders are reached. Eventually, the Dust and Iraq, they began to make better relations. So Iran would join the alliance. Around here in the fields of Lushia, well, not, because we can't have some sort of emperor baby or so. That'd be like crazy. I mean, there have been some crazy things in history, but anyways, and Lippo, a state in the east, would be created. The state of Lushia. The state would initially begin as a sort of neutral country. But then it would decide to plan an invasion of the colony. The war begins, and it's a stalemate at this point. Look at that, you see, you've got several countries on separate fronts. So as we can see, all the countries are being pushed back more and more and more and more. What does Lushia want to do? It's simple. They want to make an empire, like the Moss Empire. However, they are not going to do it directly, as that is the main reason why it failed. Children fighting and squabbling over who gets what. Their plan is to make sort of state for all the children before the state of Lushia, it forms in the eastern area. No, we were not naming it Starland. That sounds like a cheap film from some studio you've probably never heard of. So anyways, let's change the colour of it. Let's make the name the Steer. Essentially the Steer, this is the empire of the first sun. It's high up in the mountains, and it was formed in order to help defend. Well, not help defend, it was created out of necessity. Essentially, Lushia, they begin plans for an invasion of the Duffs. And it occurs. The war against these nations would actually go pretty quickly. If by quickly you are talking about several years. The reason for the war would be due to this being too close to the capital of Lushia. The Steer would actually begin to aid the government of Lushia. Now if we look over here, we can see that the Duff are starting to expand into the very large part of the Duffs. And in Lushia makes peace with Iran that's brought under their control. So the Empire of Lushia, they make two puppet states in the north, Iras and Steer. The Dust would be pretty angry but due to the forces getting close to their capital, they would reluctantly make peace. In the sort of treaty, I'm not sure if treaties were a thing yet. This is about the 800s. Essentially, they gain territories of the Dutch state that are not on the mainland of this area. This is incorporated into mainland Lushia. The Old Moss government would make a treaty redefining the border between the Grey Moths and just the Moths. Notice how it's a lot more unstable compared to the old one. And that was the plan. To change the border so it would be harder to put a military along it. If I started an episode 6 last week, this episode, so next episode will be episode 9. So notice how Lushia and Iran. Notice how, even though this conflict is actually beginning to escalate to a regional war, people aren't doing much about it. That's because the main focus of the world right now is Europe. This has been a rare moment of stability for Europe, because in other bits of the world other things happen. Lucia, Eras, and Steer, they would begin their brief moment of peace. The state of Perea would be formed. It'd be under Lucia. They would declare war on it before placing their leader, the leader of Lucia's son, in charge of Perea. The reason for this would be to make the border look more natural. So the Empire of Lucia forms, and it takes over some of Central Asia. This has been it for episode 8. Second, 7, 8. This is it for episode 9. I hope to see you in episode 10.